Hey everybody, so working on a 2018 Toyota IM. I'm doing a voiceover, so it might not line up perfectly, but we're replacing this actuator here. This is the Valvematic Actuator. You can see this car has got a traditional throttle body to control vacuum in the intake, but then the Valvematic Actuator here on the end adjusts valve lift way more than most vehicles with variable valve lift would adjust your lift, and so it runs that, looks like a third camshaft there, but it controls the lift on the valve, intake valves down to almost nothing. So you almost have two ways that you're limiting vacuum. One is just by almost not even opening those intake valves, and then the second one is your throttle body there in the front. But the issue that we ended up with was needing to replace it. It was stuck on, and book time for replacing this is 15 hours. And it calls for removing the whole cam carrier plate across the top, as well as cams, sprockets, chains, timing cover, etc. So it's a 15-hour job, and it's all because that coupler has to pull. You have to pull that shaft out before you can slide the actuator out the end. You can see here I've got the clip already removed. It's sitting down right there, and with that clip removed and the pin out of that hole, it's already out. I used a little pick to push it up. Here you can see the pin, and then I just grabbed it with a magnet and slid it out the top. But with that pin out, I could leave the end of the actuator, which you can see is that barrel-shaped coupler right there, in the head. That's what I'm wiggling right there. And then I could just unbolt the actuator itself and slide it out. Significantly shorten my time in replacement. Obviously, if I was to do it again, it'd be even shorter. But anyway, the purpose of this video is to show you it does not need to take 15 hours. You don't have to remove that whole cam carrier. You don't have to remove the timing cover, chains, etc. to replace your valve actuator. You can save yourself a ton of time and pass that savings on to the customer, which is what we did. It's reasonable if you want to not, but that's a separate discussion why I chose to discount it to the customer. Or maybe you're doing this yourself and you just don't want to spend 15 hours or don't have the tools to time it or whatever the case may be. But anyway, sliding that little clip over, pulling the pin out, allows the actuator to unbolt from the end. You do not need to remove the studs, although I did. I thought I was going to need to turn that shaft to get the pin out, but I did not need to. Yeah, so there it is. Here I've got a picture of the coupler. I left this coupler in the engine, so it's got the old coupler in there, and you can see the clip that goes around with a little pin through the middle. So I just removed that clip, and that's it. On reassembly, there's one note. The pin here, the way it locks onto this shaft, holds the shaft from moving this way, both in and out. So when you're reassembling, it's possible this shaft might need to move a little bit, and if it does, you're going to want to remove or loosen these springs, and the one cylinder that is actuated at the time with the cam pointed toward it is going to be under extra pressure, and that was this cylinder. So I had to remove this cap, and then I just loosened these to hold them in place. It makes it a little bit easier, and that allowed me to then slide the actuator shaft a little bit to get the pin there to line up, and now that the hole's lined up, I can drop the pin in and snap the clip back on, and it'll all be good. On the bottom of one of these, let me show you something. This is the bottom of that. You've got this little follower here and a spring inside of there, and a little hole with an oil drain right there. So just when you take these off, make sure your finger's under there to catch them, otherwise they'll fall out, and that's never fun. But yeah, there you go. Let's put this back on, tighten everything down, put the valve cover back on, and she'll be good to go. And she is good to go. There you go. Have fun.